what this championship is about. So this information session is going to be one of a series of events we are organizing. We're collaborating with the SEC as well. Dildana is helping us communicate a lot of information about this event, and we have a good organizing team from the IEEE Malta section, as well from the professional and education activities with which we organize this event. And this event is important because it's not just a normal event, it's also a STEM event where we communicate science, technology, engineering, and maths, but ultimately the joy of building a robot, designing a robot, building a robot, and competing in Malta this autumn, 2024, where we'll be having an arena and a lot of exciting games to be able to not only have this event in Malta, but to stream it around the region. And like last edition, the first edition, we're aiming to have thousands of people viewing and following this game through our channels. Yes, we had a lot of questions, and we're going to try and help you at this point through the process of the application and introducing the games, because obviously the games play an important role. Remember, there are two stages. The first part is the application, where you can access all the information from the region website. We also send emails, we have links. We'll be sharing this presentation with all the information. So please leave your emails in the chat or send them to us, okay, directly if you don't want to share your emails to everybody. And we will be sending this presentation and with all the information. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube, so you can check out more details if you've missed something, and feel free to ask questions throughout this information session, because we know that this part of the application, there are much more information that you'd like to know more about the championship. So, as I said, we have Lawrence Katkuti as well joining us, who will be giving us an overview of the games. But before we start, I will play the marketing video, which summarizes basically the invitation to join this championship. So those that have joined, welcome to this information session. And yes, some of basic information. The deadline for the applications is 1st March 2024. You will be also applying for 2 STEM activities. These can be any sort of activities that you think that help to communicate something related to robots, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you will be creating the activities with the robot working, because you will be still designing the robot, so you're not expected that the robot itself is part of the STEM activities. But there are a number of creative ways how you can communicate STEM, and we are eager to recognize this effort. You can involve the student branches or different resources that are available that will allow you to organize these activities. The application is there, you can register online and describe the 2 activities. So this is part of the main application, which is the application where you are going to commit yourself to participate for the Robot Championship. The Robot Championship invites you to the not more than 3 IEEE student members, and you can assign a mentor. And this is basically the team which will allow you to participate in the championship. Here you have a link which gives you all the information through the Region 8 website, the Professional Education's website, where you can find all the information that you need. And the most, I think, important document that you need to get access to are the rules and regulations for the Robot Championship 2020-24, which is going to happen in Malta in November, autumn. The actual deadline date will be shared later on, because we take note of what's happening during that period of time, so that the event will not clash with other events. We hope to see you in Malta, and therefore we're going to go through some of the processes, information related to the application. May I remind you that this event is a Region 8 event. It is under the responsibility of the IEEE Region 8 Professional Education Activities, but it is organized by IEEE Malta section. A specific committee has been assigned for this championship, which has expertise, not only has participated in the past by organizing the first edition, which was a success, but also have experience in organizing such championships, recognizing various aspects. May I inform you that we have planned a number of webinars, which I will be briefly introducing soon. These different webinars are specialized on different skill sets you will require to be able to get to design the championship, to fund the robot, to understand what resources are going to be available from the region to support you to come to Malta, and most importantly, what is the responsibility of the team, which is basically to find finance and fund the robot, and also the support that you will request from the section, so that you can travel to Malta and therefore be able to compete for the championship. These are some of the links which are available that you can follow to be able to access more resources. We have basically, this is some information about the championship that we organized last time. We had 8 teams that managed to get to Malta with more than 23 participants representing 5 different countries, a lot of volunteers. We had a large space to set up the arena, and we have a number of STEM activities which were being organized. Also 6 workshops which were open to the region to attend, to give you more insights about the basics of designing for a championship, but most importantly, different aspects of finance, branding, team management, and different awards related to them. We needed to train a number of entities. We involved a number of entities as well to participate in the event, and we also created a number of boot camps to help the logistic team manage the event, because most of it is made by volunteers. Last year we had these number of entities, which we still take. We are even increasing the entities, so we always invite more and more entities and organizations to support this event. It's a very expensive event, and we try to do our utmost to not only organize the event within the space where the venue is assigned, but also to transmit it abroad and transmit it through streaming online, which requires a number of cameras, professional teams that set up and can edit and communicate what's happening during the event, having a scoreboard which keeps everybody updated, a mobile app which keeps the score, and all the things that you can imagine that one would expect from a professional event such as this. Some basic specifications, which is a 6x6 meter arena, allowing a space of about 4 millimeters of floor difference, 20 kilogram maximum weight of the robot at any time, with or without the add-ons, a maximum size of 80 centimeters by 80 centimeters. Even this year, we'll speak about it later on. We also have the height because of the new game that we have planned. 3 members plus 1 mentor, member of a student branch, or a past student having finished their studies in the previous scholastic year. This is because different universities students graduate, and therefore not to be in between or just finish the graduation or graduated from the school. We give 1 year after graduation if you are part of the team, but by November you might not be a graduate student. It's a 1.5 day competition, and there are 4 games this year which will be we are planning for this competition. The arena, visualizing a bit the arena, the 6x6 is 3 meter height, covered with polycarbonate. It's a very secure material for safety, and a lot of surprises which will be in the arena to make these games even more exciting. As I said, we have a lot of awards. We recognize a lot of abilities. These are 10 of the awards that which will be giving during the event. The most effective add-on, best tactics, best design, best challenger, best pushing power, best maneuverability, best automated design, which we introduced this year, and second runner-up and overall winner. So these are the main awards. We also have 3 awards which are given by the professional education activities, which are 3 awards related to STEM, and these will be given against you keep the receipts used for the activities, and we will refund those according to the award that is assigned for that. So keep in mind that as a policy of IEEE, we do not give financial rewards, but we will support the teams by giving them more funds for activities that you organize. So it's important that you keep receipts and submit the reports in time. There's the entrepreneurship award as well with the best business plan. Why? Because a lot of effort is done to finance the robot. We recognize that, and therefore we invite you to submit this application where the judges will be giving the best award to the team that has found most creative ways. We really saw different ways how different teams have submitted their business plan, and we recognize that. Best teamwork and best looking robot. So these are the main awards which we have, those that are related to the championship, which I mentioned earlier on, and also these which are recognized through the championship for the planned championship. As I said, we have a number of webinars and workshops which we are organizing to help you learn more about the championship. I will briefly go through them, but we'll have time. We'll be posting more information about these. One of them is introduction to building a functional and enduring robot for the IEEE Region 8 Robot Championship. We have also a workshop on budgeting. I think that is something which helps you. We also have focusing on the brand, so the branding and design of the robot as well as the team. Workshop on STEM activities, guidance of how to organize STEM activities and supporting you. Managing teams, leading with impact. This is a very important part. You are a team, and therefore your ideas should be shared and discussed, but there are also a number of aspects to consider to make sure your team is successful, because the dynamics of the team is the main formula of the success of such a championship. Finally, and most important are the rules and regulations related to IEEE Region 8 Robot Championship. May I remind you, we have shared and it's very important that you see the rules and regulations for 2024. That is the latest version, not the ones we submitted in the last championship. Please note that we keep on updating these rules and regulations until closer to the championship. The games will remain as they are, but we give more information or clarify some rules depending on the teams, especially how the teams will be competing with each other. This all depends on how many teams are going to come to Malta and manage to design the robot and get the robot working, and other aspects during the games. And so therefore, keep always updated. We will always keep all the applicants aware of any changes, and we'll be also creating informations and webinars when such changes are happening. But always make sure that you always have the final and the most latest rules and regulations related to the IEEE Region 8 Robot Championship. Allow me now, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to share, to ask. You can either send a question through the chat, or you can also raise your hand and we'll try to clarify. Allow me to just remind you, just this last slide, you are when you are submitting the application for the championship, you also need to submit the STEM activities. There is a number of funds allocated to them, limited amount of funds, and through the applications that you submit, which a number of judges will be considering your application, then we will be informing you about the funding that is related to the STEM activities. You must complete these 2 STEM activities before the championship, at least 1 month before, and submit all the reports related to it, which include visuals and all the other information. We'll be organizing a webinar specifically on this with more information, and we'll help you to answer any questions. But for the application, you can choose the target groups, the groups that you are going to involve in the activities, those that are actually the age groups, the type of activity, how you think they will benefit from this activity. Yes, you can use resources from tryengineering.org or any other resources. You can choose and use lesson plans, but you can also adjust those lesson plans using the resources you have, and also, most importantly, speaking about the championship and also making more and more people aware that this championship is not only happening in Malta, but is being, through the STEM program, happening close to the region, and they can follow us online through the event. I have more information to share with you, but I will now give, I think, hopefully about 20 minutes. Lawrence, I don't know if you can summarize everything in 20 minutes. I leave it up to you. But Lawrence will take us through a bit the games. So then at the end, I will also give you more information on the application itself and more details. We have some questions which have been asked. I'll be answering them about the games, the championship. So Lawrence, please introduce.
Okay, I'll try my best. So, hi everyone. Maybe those
Lawrence.
who... Hi.
Please excuse me just for 1 second. I just wanted to mention, because this is also streaming live on several Facebook pages. Please, if you are following from these pages and if you want to ask questions, if you're not on the Zoom link, you can ask in the comments. I will do my best to keep those questions intact and forward them to the speakers. So just wanted to mention this because it's in the middle of the session. Please continue. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ferdana. So good evening, everyone. Maybe to all those who participated with us last year. Now, I'm Lawrence. I had participated in the Robot Championship from around 10 years ago. That was a very small, much smaller event in Malta. And last year I helped with the organization of the games with the IEEE team. And I was also a judge throughout the event. So it was my pleasure now to be working on the 2024 event. And we have some nice surprises for all of you to continue making the challenges a little bit more challenging, yet fun for you to experience and use your creations during those events. So maybe let's start looking at the first game. So this won't be, for those of you who've already participated last year, this has remained more or less the same. Time of fall, basically you have 2 high platforms. The robots will be linked to each other via a chain, like it was in our event in 2023, 2022 actually. And basically you just pull each other off the end of the platform. So it's similar to the tug of war concept, and the time will be recorded of when your opponent's robot actually falls. The shortest time, it's actually a better performance for whoever wins, and it's the worst performance for who loses. So your idea is to pull your opponent as fast as possible over the platform. Quite straightforward. So that's game 1. Game 2. There's just some details regarding the link. So now we're gonna take this game to the next level. Originally, it was only dragging the weights into the corner pockets, respective of where you start the game. But this time round, we realized that the participants were already quite good with their robots, and we said, let's make it a little bit more challenging for you. This time, instead of dropping the weight into a pocket, you have to locate your weight according to the right location. If you notice, the circles are from large to small, and each one will be correspondent to the correct weight. If you manage to place the weight completely within the circle, as you can see on the bottom right, you'll get 100%, 100% of the points allocated to that weight. If you touch the ring, but the weight only touches on the inside of the ring, you get 75% of the points. If the weight touches both the outside area and the inside area of the ring, then you only get 50 points. And if the weight only touches the ring from the outside but does not touch the inside area, you will have no points. So those are the 4 criteria. They're quite straightforward. And at the end of each match, we will be taking a photo of the location of the weights within the rings, and that way we can judge whether you will be entitled for the full points or no points at all. So now we can move on to game 3. This is just so this slide is just an idea. There will be points allocated for each weight. There will be the dimensions given for the weights and the height of the dimensions of each individual weight, so that you can maybe practice or get an idea of what weights you will be handling. These will be the identical weights we had in the previous event. So blue will be for the blue team and red will be for the red team. So nothing will change there. All that will change is that you will be setting them in line instead of just simply pushing them into a pit. Next. And now game 3. This is a completely new game. It replaced the previous game 3 we had, and now we're calling this one Climate Chaos. So just to walk you through it here, the idea is that we need to prepare ourselves for the worst that can happen in our future. As most of you know, hopefully at least, we are experiencing vast changes in our climates, and some scientists refer to this term as climate chaos. The idea is not just global warming, but it's also sometimes you have a hot day, the next day it's completely cold, and the day after might be hot again, and that's considered as climate chaos. Here we are representing a scenario, a worst case scenario. The arena will turn into almost an apocalyptic time, or the transition to an apocalyptic era, where you get sinkholes due to underground flooding. You might get floods, so there are barriers holding floods at bay. These are things that are being developed now so that we will prepare for the worst that can hit us. And there will also be as well the possibilities of forest fires that might endanger people who are living in our cities or in our villages. Now your task will be, you will start from a safe zone, as you see on the top left. Your robot will be placed in such a safe zone, and your task is to save families from 3 different towers. So you have Tower A, Tower B, Tower C. Now, Tower A, as you can see, it has 6 supports. Tower B has 4 supports, and Tower C only 3 supports. Underneath each tower, you will have something to recover that we will overlook in the next slide. You might also notice that Tower A and Tower B and Tower C are becoming smaller and more dangerous each one. So Tower A, since it has 6 supports, you can hit more supports before it topples over, while Tower C, you just hit one of the supports and, rule of 3, if you remove one, the whole tower topples over. Tower B, you might get away with it if it's properly balanced, so Here we're gonna test your ability to navigate your robot, how accurate you are, how precise, and how gentle as well, because somehow you need to retrieve something and save people from, or pets maybe as well, from these buildings that are at risk to these natural disasters caused through climate chaos.
Can I
This
stop
game,
you one sorry, can I stop you 1 second because we have a question?
yes, go ahead.
They ask if we need to design only one robot for these games. If it's a robot per game. No, it's the same robot, but you can use the concept of add-ons. That is, you can add on then just the robot to be able to have features or have a number of aspects designed specifically for games. But the main part of the robot is the same. I always remind you that at any point in the game, the robot can't be heavier than 20 kilos. Therefore, when using add-ons, therefore you must cater and make sure that you don't exceed that weight. Okay.
For those familiar to the previous event, maybe who also followed with us, the main constraints of robots per se has not changed by much. So the ideas and the general rules remained more or less the same. In this case, however, we had to restrict the height of your robots because they need to fit underneath these structures. In the previous event, we did not really have any height restrictions, while in this case, I believe the height of the robot should be of around 50 or 60 centimeters. Do not quote me from this video, you have to refer to the rules themselves. I'm just here to give you an idea of what you expect. We are also still developing this game, and we also want to see how challenging we can make it for you, such as maybe even considering that you might not, the driver of the robot might not be able to have direct contact to the robot. This would require wireless streaming through a camera loaded onto the robot itself to simulate driving a drone to save these families I've mentioned in real case scenarios. I'm mentioning this earlier on so that you'll start thinking about it, and I guess Conrad can agree with me here. We can collect feedback to check
Yes.
regarding the level of difficulty of this task itself, right, Conrad?
Yes, just to remind everybody, this is just an awareness of the games, where in the future we will be organizing once the application and everybody has confirmed that you're going to participate, we will be organizing information sessions and webinars specifically on this. We have another question. Is the robot fully autonomous or it can be remote controlled? Yes, it's remote controlled, but we are recognizing features that are autonomous, and therefore you can hybrid between both. In fact, there is an award specifically on the autonomous part of the robot. So the features that you are going to consider, which you will take advantage of because of the use of sensors maybe, or automating any movement which will help you take advantage in these games, we are recognizing that as well. So you can use the remote control, but you have autonomous features depending on your creativity and how smart you are to take advantage of certain features that would put you at in the competition closer to winning the championship. Okay.
The main idea of this game is to actually be able to retrieve all the rescues in the shortest amount of time possible without toppling any of the buildings. If you topple a building, that will be considered as a penalty, and if you manage to do it, if you manage to retrieve the safety, if you actually manage to do the rescue in the shortest amount of time, will be considered a benefit. Details regarding this, like we said before, will be released later on as the event continues to develop. But at this stage, what's important is that you simply get the gist of what we are looking after here. The bottom of the towers will simply be just wooden beams holding this tower structure, so it will be easy if you hit it, the tower might topple over. So that's the concept behind this game. It's like a maze. You have to plan your route. You have to be as fast as possible, as precise as possible, and also have some form of retrieval system, which we're planning the things that you will be rescuing will be this represented in the next slide that I think we can proceed to. The one previous to this one, please. So these will be metal cutouts. Ideally, we'll go for something ferritic, or in other words, magnetic. And there will be cutouts signifying like a family or maybe even pets. There will be, of course, one assigned for each tower. And the more you'll get to rescue, the more you would have performed, the better you would have performed, scoring better points. We're still developing what kind of metal cutout it is. So this is still subject to change, but more or less you'll be having some kind of pickup point, such as a hole over there of 20 millimeter diameter, something like that. Again, this is subject to change regarding, we might also be seeing the difficulty level of this task. The idea is to retrieve these metal cutouts signifying the pets and families that need to be rescued in the case of natural disasters, unfortunately. Shall we move on to the last game now, Conrad? Unless we have more questions regarding this new game 3. Okay, we don't seem to have any. Conrad?
No, we don't have more questions. So.
Okay.
For now.
And so the final game is called the Battle Hanging Hazard. So this is basically a free-for-all. In the Hanging Hazard, we will start like we did in the last event, where there will be 3 rugby balls. If you score the better of the 3, and at the end of the match, your robot is still functioning perfectly, you will actually win the match. This is important so that we will avoid ambiguity when it comes to sometimes robots battling it out. It's not always clear who did perform better. So there will also be the 3 rugby balls like we had in the previous event, where if you score the most out of the 3, you are more likely to win. However, it's not a guarantee, because if your robot is not in full function or it's significantly damaged by the end of the game, then it might still result into a loss for your team, regardless how many rugby balls you would have scored. There will be as well 4 different weights: hanging, acting like a pendulum, and these will be there where the arena now, after all the beating throughout the whole event, gets a bit of a chance to hit your robots back. It gets to pay a little bit of payback in a way. So that's why hanging hazard, because you'll have weights hanging. Ideally, you avoid them, because I'm not sure if your robot will enjoy some beating from a weight hanging with like a pendulum. So try best to avoid these weights while you're having this game. Quite straightforward. In this case, I believe it's anything goes. Usually it's the finalists that make it to this game, and there won't necessarily be any other games after that. So if your robots are actually damaged beyond repair beyond this point, it's at the end of an event or at the end of the line of your robot. So ideally you will be okay with it.
So basically, this is the battle part. It not only has conflict between the robots, but it also has tasks and even some dangers in between, like the weights, which will be moving around in the arena. But finally, it is the challenge between the 2 robots, and here the creativity of the designers to create the robot is there so that it will survive and be in best working condition to win the championship. Thank you, Lawrence, for the brief summary.
You're welcome.
We will have more opportunities to discuss in details. As I remind you, as I said earlier on, always refer to the rules and regulations with the latest documents. Okay, so to the application, we are not going to change the rules and regulations. So until you submit your application, that document is the document that you can refer to. And here we have a question related to game 4. Can you ignore the scoring part and just attack the opponent robot until it stops functioning? The first part is focusing on the rugby ball, and then yes, then after you score, you
If I
can.
can maybe put in my advice here, this is basically based on your strategy. If you choose to ignore the rugby ball, this is up to the team's decision. It's their strategy. However, it's up to them, because at the end of the day, if they do not manage to have their opponent damaged to beyond considerably, they might be risking losing the match. This happened in the past. If they won't score any rugby balls and they would have attacked their opponent, but to no avail, not damaging them significantly, then at the end, they might actually lose the match. So it's all about strategy, if you want. If you want to risk it, it's up to your team. The rules are there. It's up to you what strategy you want to play.
Yes, so Abdullah has asked a question, has raised his hand. Would you like to type the question, or would you like to talk about it here?
Yes. Hello. Can you
Hello?
hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Yes. So the purpose of designing my robot for this championship is just for these games?
I'm not sure I understood your question. Sorry.
I mean, I have to design a robot just to be functional for these games. I mean, for the entire championship, or
Okay, so I think I got the gist. Normally we start with game 1, which is the time of fall, as part of the qualifying method. So in order to produce to come up with matchups, we usually come up with a game and we match up usually the best performing against the least performing. And then you will move on to game number 2, which, if I recall correctly, it is the wait in line. So then you will be playing against another team, and the best performing will move up to a different round. Now, we cannot really specify how the rounds are split just yet, just because we don't know exactly how many participants we have. So details regarding when the qualifying phase is over and when the knockout phase starts will be given out later once we have better understanding of how many teams that will be performing. But the gist is, the better your robot performs from the previous games, the better chance you have to move on to the next games. But normally, the first game is a guarantee. The second game is also a guarantee. Things might be coming into question when it comes to game 3 and game 4. Because maybe, again, depending on the number of participants, your robot might not have made it up to that round where that game actually is in play. The hanging hazard is usually kept and reserved for the 2 finalists. So normally we'll try to match up the system so that we'll save the best performing robots to meet against each other for the last game. Normally that's the principle we keep for these events, and it was a success for the previous event as well. And there will also be the runner-up event, so the third and the fourth. So the hanging hazard is usually reserved for the last, so for the best performing 4 robots normally. That's the task. I hope this answers your question.
I'm sorry, but to clarify more maybe, I actually thought this championship is about designing a robot that functionally helps society or something like to come up with a new idea for a robot, but not for games. That was my point.
Oh no, this is for the competition. around the event, there are going to be, we had a number of robots even last time for different scopes, okay? But this information session is about the competition itself. So the competition, which is within the arena, is within the context of these 4 games. Then during the championship, there are different activities happening. We're planning different activities related to different types of robots. Educational, for example, it depends on the domains which will be participating or setting up during the event.
Okay, thank you. I got it.
Okay.
This Robot Championship is basically the second edition from the one from the previous edition. So more or less, as an event, it's very similar to the previous version. Just we had some changes in certain games.
Okay. Now here we have a question. Could you please repeat the task and description of the hanging hazard game?
Okay, so the hanging hazard starts with the finalists. Normally, they start with their respective corner, blue or red corner, and there will be 4 hanging weights held by a string or piece of rope, and they will be swinging from before the game. So they will be swinging, acting as a hanging hazard. Now, the game starts with 3 rugby balls placed in the arena, and there are the idea is to either score the best out of 3 of these rugby balls into your respective corner, or you actually render your opponent immobile. Now, through experience, to do the latter, rendering your opponent immobile, is quite difficult to do. So you can either go directly into actually rendering your opponent immobile, or first play it safe, score the best out of 3, and then proceed to the next phase of the game. But this is all about strategy. So the game is what it is at the end of the said amount of time. If none of the robots are rendered immobile, then the team that scored the best out of 3 wins the match, regardless how they performed throughout the match. I hope it's clear. I think we might have some videos as well from the previous events on YouTube, maybe.
Yes, we can, yes. I have another question here. I would like to know whether the games are a side attraction or are the main competition. These are we're focusing on the game itself, so that's what we're after. So here we're focusing on these 4 games.
The games are the competition. The more you go into the competition, like I said, the more games you get to do normally, because normally throughout I say normally because again we don't know how many participants we have, so we need to sort out certain details later on. But there will become a phase where there will be a knockout phase. So if your team will be knocked out, naturally you won't get the chance to do certain games. But like I said, normally game 1 and game 2 are a guarantee for you as part of the qualifying phase. But normally later on, then certain robots will be knocked out, and not every team will get to do game 3 and game 4. But these details will be defined later on once we have a proper list of participants and teams for the event, and number of teams for the event.
If I may just add here something, this competition, it says like making the robots, but just for these specific games. For students, that's a valuable learning opportunity because you have a problem, meaning these are the games that you should be focusing on, that the robot is capable of performing such tasks. So that's the problem. You need a solution, the design that can fulfill these tasks. And it's a learning opportunity when it comes to that, but later on, like in future, you can make a robot that is like solving real problems for society. But in a way, this is also a big learning opportunity when you are a student. It really is an awesome event, and you know, it's a championship, it's a competition, and you win prizes, awards. So that's just wanted to to make it clear how important this learning opportunity by itself is. Just to go through all this process and to have that robot to fulfill such tasks.
We have more questions. So yeah, I will give you some examples of the types of STEM education activities. We will have a workshop specifically on that. So we're not trying to put everything in 1 hour because there's a lot to learn. This is just an information session, and I would like to focus on the application process. Yes, what the main components are controller, wheels, and motors. You're right. We also going to plan a webinar on that once the applications have been submitted, and we are eager to see who will be participating in the championship, specifically on basic aspects related to that. I have a short clip just so that you get an idea of the robot which was designed in the first championship. We can get an idea of the effort put.
Robot alphabet consists of 4 materials, 2 of which are 3D filaments, impact PLA and the rubber-like filament called PPU. Aside from these, we also used sheets of aviation-grade aluminum and carbon fiber. To tackle the problem of the weight limit, we needed a material that is as durable, if not more, than aluminum, but weighs less, hence why the carbon fiber was used. And why instead of regular aluminum, we used aviation-grade aluminum, which is a bit cleansing. By sandwiching the carbon fiber between the impact PLA, we further increase its rigidity. Alpha Beetle should be able to take as many hits as possible with minimal damage taken, hence the materials used and its beetle-like form. We chose to use tracks instead of wheels to increase the frictional force and better maneuverability. These tracks contain rubber caps inserted in the surface of each track. The rubber caps are used because rubber has a better coefficient of friction than the TPU, and the better coefficient of friction, it means we'll have a greater frictional force. Our one and only weapon will be a bucket-like object on the front of the robot. It's designed to slide under any weight for the enemy robot and slightly lift them off.
This was one of the robots for the last championship. Just to get an idea, there's no one way of how these robots are designed. If you see, and later on we'll be sharing even other clips of how robots were designed for the championship. You'll see there are different styles and different concepts, materials used to take advantage of the features that you are going to consider within these games. I have some brief comments about the application. May I remind you that if during the process of creating or filling up the application, you know that you are going to send some information about clarifying the way you're going to fund the robot, how you managed to come to Malta, and even some of the ideas, the branding of the name. You will also need to get support from your section. If you find difficulties with that, please inform us as early as possible, so that we can help you out if you need to get support from the section. And if you need, make sure that you will be having all the information for the application. But if you're stuck at any stage, tell us as early as possible so that we can help you out. Ideally, before the 1st of March. We are meeting for the Region 8 meeting 2nd, 3rd, 4th March, which will allow us to have the opportunity to meet most of the representatives of most of the branches, most of the sections within the region. So like that, as a committee, we will be also discussing about what's needed for you to be able to join us in Malta. The rules and regulations are very clear. We have a certain amount of funds related to cover the hotel and the stay in Malta, but you will be supporting or funding the robot itself, and because it's very difficult to say how much a robot can be depending on the design ideas that you've got and what materials you're going to be using, and most importantly, to get support from the section to be able to travel to Malta. And if you are coming or you need visas that is outside EU, please tell us as early as possible. We would support you throughout this journey like we've done in the past edition, but do not leave it for the end, because obviously that process takes time. In fact, that's why we started and launched the championship even earlier than we did last edition. This is basically the question, some of the questions that we have been asked. STEM activities. You can access the tryengineering.org to get the STEM activities that you'd like to adopt. And most importantly, you can even invent your own activities, because there are so many different problems that you need to address. All different types have a learning, an educational part, and students, kids, people of all ages get excited about them, and they're curious to know how the robots are going to react for these games and how you are going to solve the problems and take advantage over others within the rules and regulations that are available. So if you have more questions, don't hesitate to contact to send us even after the event. We try to keep it as an hours long, but as I said, we'll be organizing more information sessions, and we can answer more questions by contacting us through the contact information that we shared in the first slide, the links, and also here you can find more information how you can reach us, either using our email robotchampionship@IEEE-malta.org, or through the information that we have through our websites, where you can read more about the rules and regulations and all the details, and access the application forms with all the information that you need step by step. Lawrence, you were going to add something? Or
yes, all I would like to say is that it's not an event to be underestimated. Sometimes people think that just because they make a robot radio controlled, it's something very basic and very straightforward. I'm telling you now, it's not. I've been now participating and overlooking quite a number of events, and there is always last minute errors, breakages, miscalculations when it comes to the mechanical design, the electrical design, motors burning up, batteries running out. And these are things we tend to overlook when we design things because we get blind.
I think we lost Lawrence for a bit.
We're just simply saying, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It just it froze. I don't know with mine, but it froze a bit.
Okay. So it's very easy to underestimate such a basic point, but when it comes to actually build it and having plans to fix it, you'll realize the amount of decisions you need to make. What material? What do I have access to? Do I have a workshop? What kind of workshop? What kind of tools? So what can I do? Do I have a 3D printer? Is it affordable? Do I have CAD? Do I know how to make CAD? Do I need to buy a radio control system, or do I need to design it from scratch? Shall I be creative? Shall I make it automatic? Shall I make sensors to guide me on how to make actions? Unbelievable amount of decisions you would have to make, and the only way to experience it is if you actually participate. There's also the economic element of it. Things are expensive. Brushless motors cost a lot of money if you're going to go for it. So a way to fund your project. So the idea here is not really the goal itself. The end is not really what we're after, but it's more the journey we are offering you. So we're offering you an opportunity to take you on a journey where from nothing, from not even a team, you build relations with your team, you get to discuss with your lecturers, with your mentors, you get to search on the internet what kind of brands produce what. So it's an opportunity, a simulation, if you will, to come up with something to create a creation. The creation itself is not necessarily that important. What's important is what you get out of the journey. It's all about the journey, not really the destination. It's regardless whether you perform well or whether you win or lose the championship itself. It's not really the point. The point is you need to apply for a visa to go to a country that's outside of, the whole package is there for you to network, to meet people who have similar likes in your fields. You make friendships, you get to know about suppliers, you get to know about how to make economical decisions, actual technical decisions, not just fictitious ones. And sometimes we tend to dream, we go for the hardest metals on the planet, but do you have access to them? Do you have money to source them? Do you have machinery to actually handle them? So this, although it might sound like a game, it is a game, but it's a fun way to learn and to apply the knowledge you gain. Okay, so do not underestimate it. The amount of silly breakages we've seen, and in fact, we have them in the rules as well. We're trying to avoid, because it happened in the past. You have a robot somehow limping, makes it to the event, and it wasn't ready to perform that game, actually then shutting down the whole show. We actually updated the rules because this happens so often that now judges can simply disqualify even when a robot makes it to the arena and wasn't fit for purpose. So there's also then an element of showmanship, So it's not just engineering anymore, it's a holistic project. You're giving a show, you're creating something, creating teams, you're getting into economics, marketing, documenting your stuff. I highly advise anyone who's interested to further their skills to have something under their experience belt, and I am sure that your future employers or opportunities that will present to you, this would be a tangible thing to show that you've actually worked on and delivered, even if just participating. It's more than enough.
We have seen this because a lot of the teams and members that have participated in the past got awards. They were even in interviews when they spoke about the championship for jobs, etc. It literally was focused on the championship, the experience, and it.
It happened to me personally, so
exactly.
Yes. We have a question?
Yes, we have a question. You can talk. Hi.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this informative session. This is actually my first time involved with this competition. I'm actually a faculty member, and some of our students would like to participate. in this competition. The question I have is more related to the educational activities that you mentioned.
Yes.
Are these activities, I mean, are they related to the robot that we have to design for the
Not
competition?
necessarily. No, not necessarily, because the probability is that you will be still designing the robot. We will invite you to speak about the robot and about the championship, but the actual activities, you can be creative. If you go to tryengineering.org, you're going to find a number of different topics you can opt for, about maybe creating a robot arm, maybe designing a system, a competition, how to pack something which is not destroyed, and it arrives safely in a particular destination. There are so many resources. We will be having a webinar specifically on this after the applications have been submitted to help you organize these activities. So for now, for the application, briefly identify the target group and the basic ideas you would like to adopt. And then, yes, you will have the opportunity to adjust and improve them. And the final award, which was given for these STEM activities, will be the ones you submitted after you organize them. I hope I have answered your question, but the sky is the limit, what you can do.
Okay, thank you. It's clear almost just to reconfirm. So any activity that we do with, let's say, with the students where they do some competition among themselves,
Yes,
that would be fine, right?
education activity, yes. But
Okay.
always speak about the championship. So you might introduce the activity, making them aware what you have in mind, what you're doing. But the actual STEM activity can be anything that you think is effective at that point in time.
Okay, so we have to maybe at least talk about the competition during the activity, right?
Yes.
Kind of relate their activity to the competition itself, right?
You can relate it, but it's up to you what STEM activities you opt for. Because as I said, if you're doing a robot arm, it's not directly related to the robot. If you choose something else, there's so many things you can do. It all depends on that. But we will guide you. When you submit the application, we will speak to you about it.
Okay, very clear. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have a question regarding the recording of the meeting, whether it will be shared,
Yes.
Conrad.
So it's already going to be available on our Facebook. So allow me, Vildana, if you can post the championship Facebook link. You can access and see the live version happening now, and you can see the video itself. We will be uploading it on the YouTube channel, the SAC, that is the Student Activities Committee YouTube channel, where you can see this webinar later on. I hope that answered your question, but it's already online through our Facebook channels and social media.
Yeah, we also got a lot of questions related because this video live is on 3 different Facebook platforms. So we got questions related if the recording will be available. So it will stay on these pages. So that's something you can go back and see better for yourself and share among friends and everyone. This is relatively a new page for the Robot Championship. You can follow there because in the upcoming events, in the upcoming posts, we will have a lot of more details and just some memories from the previous event and so on. So this is the page you need to follow, especially if you're gonna apply. There's also a new Instagram for this IEEE Robot Championship, and yeah, I encourage you to follow that as well. But also a lot of the previous posts you can find on the Region 8 SAC and on this educational activity, professional activities page, because it was an initiative regarding Conrad, first of all. So that's how it started. So the pages are relatively new, but it will be all there. So follow it.
We are creating a team. We are asking more volunteers to join. We were so happy that last edition we have a number of volunteers that have contributed in so many ways to make this championship not only happening in Malta, but it's a truly regional event where it is streamed live and everybody's being excited and updated, where thousands of views were following us, sharing ideas and communicating different aspects of the championship. So I will, we're towards the end. I don't know if we have more questions, just to be sure. I think we answered everything. Yes, I remind you once again, join this Facebook page, like us there. So when we post, you can know what's happening. And if you would like to be updated directly, maybe through the emails, I have created a mailing list. You can send us an email to the email I've shared earlier on related to the championship, and also contact us through social media, and we will keep you always updated on anything that is happening. Thank you very much. I don't have anything else to add for now, but rest assured, there's a lot of information which is coming up next, and we are planning inviting different professionals, experts in different fields, to give you more insights and more guidance about how to be more successful in the championship in so many ways, and so many awards, which in a way identified all the different qualities that a team would have to be able to succeed in this championship. We'll also be inviting ex-Roboteers from the first championship to share their experiences. We created like the first family, I call it, of the championship, which I'm always enjoying when they send us messages about awards they have managed to achieve through their initiatives as a result of the championship, and their success stories in their careers. Thank you very much. We'll surely be in touch in the coming weeks. So don't forget to apply. Okay. See you. Bye.